For those of you dual coil nuts out there, you're going to want to stick around to see this. So there's a new coil on the block, and the guy who came up with it is a guy by the name of Iteo. I've been vaping on this Nano Dragon coil for about 3 or 4 days now, and I gotta tell you, I'm liking her a lot. I'm gonna show you guys how to make it. We're gonna dive down. I'm gonna show you guys how to wrap your Nano Dragon coil, how to wrap your Nano Dragon wick. There is a trick to getting this Nano Dragon to work efficiently and effectively the way it should work. If you get that Dragon wicking down, you're going to get a hellacious vape. I'm going to take a hit and then we're going to dive down and show you how to do it. Oh man! Let's do it. Alright, so to build your Nano Dragon coil, you're going to need 2 pieces of 28 gauge Kanthal around 6 inches long, and then I'm using, for this video, I'm using a 20 gauge syringe needle. Now you can buy 20 gauge blunt syringe needles from Wizard Labs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this first piece of 28 gauge Kanthal and I'm going to do 14 wraps. Fourteen wraps right there. Same thing. 14 wraps, just like we did on the other. You want to make sure that your coils are as close together as possible. Got the second coil. So what I do is I slide my first Nano coil back onto the syringe needle. Now I'm going to insert the 2 leads. Okay, just like that. See how it naturally bends down? That's what you want with this Nano Dragon. You want the tail end tilting down, and we'll go over that in a second. All I'm going to do is tighten down this negative connection over here just a little bit. You want to leave the positive for your second coil. I'm going to pull the 20 gauge syringe needle out of this first Nano coil. So now we've got the second Nano coil. We're just going to insert it just like we did the first. Going to tighten this negative connection just a tad. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these leads on each negative side. What I like to do is tilt them up like that and then clip them. And then what I'll do is I'll tighten down the positive connection just a little bit. You don't want to tighten it down too tight. You just want to tighten it down to where you're making the connection. And then I'll take the positive leads on each side and pull them to the side. Just like that. Same thing with this one. Pull it to the side. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the syringe needle back into the first Nano coil. All I'm going to do is give it a little tilt, just like that. And you want to make sure that the Nano coil is not touching the post, otherwise you're going to short out. Okay, so you want it tilted down. There's actually a few millimeters distance between this edge right here and the base of the deck. Okay, same thing on this side. Tilt it. Give it a good bend right here. Make sure that it's not touching the post, and as you can see, there's space there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten down these connections just a little more. We're going to get these coils nice and glowing from the inside out evenly. Yep. So all I'm going to do is get in here with these tweezers, put a little tension on there. And as you can see, they're glowing from the inside out. And that's exactly what you want. As you notice, there was no torch involved. You really don't need a torch when doing a micro coil and nano coil. It's just something that I've always done in the past. But if you can get those coils as evenly as possible, just like these coils from the get-go, I noticed when you're wrapping a coil on something really small like a 20 gauge syringe needle, the coils really stay in place a lot more efficiently than they do on something like the 5/64 drill bit or something larger. So therefore, you really don't need a torch. So basically, now we just have two nano coils. It's a dual nano coil setup. Now what makes this the Nano Dragon coil is not the coils. It's the way that this sucker is wicked. And I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. I've got two wicks right here. One for one side, one for the other. All I'm going to do is slide this piece in between these two posts on this side. Okay, just like this. Then I'm going to pull this wick through. Okay, just like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this over so this wick comes through underneath this coil, and then this side of the wick is going to overlap onto the coil. So nothing ever goes through the coil, just over it. Okay? And it fits right in between those two posts. You want this side of the coil to be totally exposed. And you want this side of the coil to be completely covered by the overlapping wick. Okay? Now, once this has come through over the top, then I'm going to bring this part of the wick around. Okay? So it's coming around, and I'm going to slide this part of the wick underneath the coil, so it's going to act like a cotton cloud. Now you want to make sure that this side of the coil is completely covered. It's got to be completely covered with wick. Now, a way for me to do that, to make it easier, is all I'm going to do is dab a few drops of my juice on there to act as an adhesive. Dab a few drops on there. Then all I'm going to do is I'm going to mold it. Mold it the way I want it. So now that I have everything the way I want it, I've got everything situated, I'm going to show you exactly what makes this a Dragon coil versus a regular Nano coil. See how this side of the coil is completely open. That's what you want. You want this side being completely open. And then the back end has got to be completely covered with wick. So no air can get to that side of the coil. Just to this side. Okay? This style of wicking really holds a lot of juice in an RDA. It really does. Okay, now all you're going to do with this coil, you're just going to repeat the same exact process. The wick comes underneath and overlaps. You want to make sure that this side of the coil is completely covered and that this side is open. Over here you want to press this down so the vapor can escape from this coil. So make sure that this side is pushed down just like the other side. Slide my wick underneath this coil, take my tweezers, pull it through. And all I'm going to do, just like the other side, overlap. You want to make sure that the wick is covering this side of the coil, leaving this side completely open, just like the last coil. And then all we're going to do is take this side, pull it around. Okay. Put a few dabs of juice on there. And the beauty of wicks is that you can always mold them. With a little bit of e-liquid on there, you can always mold the way you want your wick placed. So there's no need to freak out in any way if you mess up, because you can just mold it back the way you'd like it. Put a little e-liquid on there, dibby dab, dabby do, and you can get it going just the way you want it. From zero to hero. Again, can't stress this enough. You want to make sure this side of the wick is completely covering this side of the coil. And all I'm going to do is push this side in of the cotton, push it down, put a little juice, a little more juice on there. See how that side is completely showing? On this side, this coil is completely showing. So that is how you wrap and build your Nano Dragon coil. Alright, I'm going to take it to the original screen, show you guys how it fires, how it vapes, all that jazz. There is your Nano Dragon. You got two strands of vapor right there. Hi-ya! Oh yeah! Now we're going to vape it. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Okay, I've got this set up in an atomic RDA on a Panzer, both devices by MCV. I've been vaping with this setup, the Nano Dragon coil, for about 3 to 4 days now, and vapor is, to me, in my opinion, is it's freaking awesome. So Ateo, the guy who came up with this style of wicking, you done it right, brother. You really did it right with this one. You figured something out. The way that the wick goes, I mean, he calls it a Nano Dragon coil for a reason. It's like a dragon blowing fire out of his nostrils. I mean, you saw it. There's two strands of vapor. The way that this wick is set up around those two nano coils really puts out tons of vapor. Some of the most vapor that I've put out with ease. Now, some of these builds, your micro coils and your nano coils and your tricro coils, the tricro coil puts out tons of vapor. It puts out the flavor. To me, on the tricro coil, that's where it shines. And then you have your Nano coil, and your Nano coil, it's the same type of coil that is under the hood right now. A regular Nano coil has a wick that runs through it, okay? The regular micro coil, same thing, but it's larger than a Nano coil. It's wrapped, unlike being wrapped on a 20 gauge syringe needle or something of that size, the micro coil is wrapped on a 5/64 drill bit or a little bit larger. They're all really good, but all these other coils that I've been experimenting with that I've used in the past, this Nano Dragon coil produces more vapor production than those other coils, okay? And it's just so easy. Like this dual coil, this is a 0.7, 0.8 ohm dual coil. And I mean, watch the vapor, it's just so easy. I mean, just so freaking easy. I've got a freaking 60 PG, 40 VG blend in here, and it's chucking the vapor like a 70 VG, 30 PG blend. It just chucks the vapor with ease. I mean, it's crazy. We all know it chucks the vapor. What about the flavor? I'm a flavor junkie. Flavor's got to be there. It's got to be there. Right now I've got a new tobacco that I've been working on, and it's really a masculine tobacco, but at the same time it's got a lot of vanilla tones to it. Like when I was younger, my mom would make this homemade frosting, okay? This homemade vanilla frosting. It just reminds me of that, okay? And I'm getting all of those vanilla notes with that masculine tobacco, and it's just delightful. It's just a fantastic vape. It really is. I mean, flavor's top notch. I'm getting all those notes. It's up there. Flavor's up there, very close to the Tricro Coil IMO. God, I can't get over how the vapor just chucks at ease. It just really does. So I hope that helps, guys. That is how to wrap a Nano Dragon coil. Take one more hit. We're gonna wrap it up. This is Rip Trippers. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to comment below. And remember, smoking is dead. Vaping is the future. And the future is now.